So far on this channel, I have posted 3 Rick and Morty videos, and you guys really, really like them. So, since I talked about the first and second half of the season, what I thought was good about the certain episodes and what I thought was bad about them. I also did, a top 10 video on my top 10 favorite episodes from the first 5 seasons. So now I say that we, wrap up this Rick and Morty series that I have been doing on the channel with an overall review kind of this new season 6, because honestly, kind of a slightly controversial statement, I think it's pretty much the best season since season 2. But before I get into that, I just want to remind you that if you enjoy our channel's videos, then, maybe consider subscribing. So yeah, here I mostly just do, gaming videos where, I play some games, have a good time, and also videos like this where we just talk about stuff. I would highly recommend checking out our new Fortnite videos. Me and the boys put a lot of effort into those videos. Link in the description below if you want to check out any of those. Also, shout out to Leafy is here is a dumb name at the nostalgic. However you say that. Also, do not read the URL page at the top of the screen. But anyway, so yeah, my claim about season 6 being one of the best seasons ever of this show. I know that may, seem weird. In my opinion, basically how I would rank the seasons. Season 1, I like it. It's alright. It was, it was definitely like a bit all over the place. It was clear that the show was kind of, trying to find its footing. But overall, it's pretty good. Season 2 is definitely my favorite season. I absolutely love Season 2. It is so great. Season 3 is alright. I feel like they went a little bit too cynical and dark with it in some spots. But overall, it was an alright season. Season 4, I really didn't get into the first half that much, but the second half, I don't know, I like the second half actually pretty good. And then Season 5, I did not like very much, but the ending was pretty great. Now, since I've already done 2 videos, discussing, most of the episodes of the season, I'll just, go through what I think of the episodes really quick, that you might start to notice a pattern. Episode 1, really good. I really like it. A lot of good stuff with the story and characters. Episode 2, really cool, interesting idea. I really like the whole, idea of being inside of the Roy video game, all that. Love it. Episode 3 was just alright. I definitely liked it. Some of the jokes in it were really funny. And episode 4, I could not watch because Sling would not play this episode for me. Oh my god, Sling, will you just let me watch? Then we got episode 5, which I thought was really funny. It wasn't great or anything, but for what it's worth, I thought it was a pretty hilarious episode. And episode 6 was really good. It was, pretty funny, and the idea of it was, really great and interesting, creative idea, and a lot of, Rick's, interaction with the dinosaurs and his kind of character stuff, I also really liked. So you're starting to kind of, see a pattern here. All of the episodes are pretty damn good. And now, unlike, Season 3, for example, where it had some really good episodes, like the Rick Lantis mix-up, for example, which is actually my favorite Rick and Morty episode of all time, for a fun fact, but that in that case, it also had the worst episode of the show, which was the Vindicators episode. Or how about Season 4, which had, some absolutely phenomenal episodes, like the Vat of Acid episode, but then on the other hand, also had the incredibly sus Dragons episode, which is basically, one of the most universal hated episodes in all of Rick and Morty. Or how about Season 5, which had some really good episodes, like the season finale was epic, but then, it also had every other episode of that season. But those other seasons had, some really good episodes and some completely bad episodes. This season, finds a really good balance of, none of the episodes in this season, I would say, are my, favorite episode of, all time. Well, there are definitely, a couple that would be in my top 10, maybe even top 5, but all of the episodes are actually able to be really, really good. Not amazing, but all of them. There's not a single bad or even, an episode that's decent in here. All of the episodes are either like from good to like really good. Well, all of those other seasons, like definitely did have some, really phenomenal episodes that I would definitely watch once or twice. This one, I would much rather rewatch this season all the way through than any of those other seasons all the way through. And if we're more getting into detail, I think that probably the main reason that Rick and Morty Season 6 is able to achieve this kind of consistency that the show hasn't had in, like, years is because they've finally been able to balance the episodic structure of the show with the more serialized structure. Basically, there's a bunch of, like, if you don't know what that means, which you probably don't, basically episodic episodes are more like kind of, like, episodes like where you don't like have to like watch like any of the episodes like before like in order to understand it, like it's a kind of like episode that you could show to a friend that's never seen the show and they would completely know what was going on and stuff. And more serialized stuff like is episodes that have more of like a plot line and that goes on for multiple episodes and seasons and stuff, like an overarching thing where you would probably be a little bit confused if you just went in halfway through. Now, for years the main creators of the show have mostly been trying to keep it like episodic, like like the first 2 or so seasons were mostly really like episodic, and the characters didn't like really like progress all that much. And it was more just entirely focused on comedy than actually having any progressing storylines. And, well, that I, obviously love those one-off episodes and stuff. I gotta admit, my most favorite episode of the show, again, the Rick Lantis mix-up, is an episode that barely has any comedy at all and is mostly just focused on telling a more serialized and serious story. And that's kind of is really what I want to see more of in the show. Well, it's still, but obviously, I still also want to have that, old episodic fun nature of, like how the series was originally. And this season, I think, does an excellent job at combining both of those. Another one of my favorite episodes of the show, you might know, is the episode Rixty Minutes. Basically, the entire plot of this episode is that they just get interdimensional cable television and just watch some stupid ads and shows on interdimensional cable that's usually just like improv from the writers and just like animators trying to figure out what the hell to animate over it. And that's great. I absolutely eat that stuff up. It's pretty hilarious. It's just stupid, and it's also hilarious. But it actually does, like have a lot of good drama and stuff, which I wouldn't want to, really spoil it that much. But I'll just say, it like, if you haven't seen that episode, definitely watch it. It has some really, really good messages and really good writing in it that isn't really comedy focused near the end of it. And it combines both so well. And that's what I feel like a lot of the episodes in this new season do. And, well, this is something, like that seasons, just like season 3 and 4 have tried to do, and have tried to be consistent. I really think that's good, like, but that I don't like the original creators, Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon. At least I think that are their names. I don't know. They are recruiting like a lot of new writers to the show, which I think is really good. Like because it really like gives like these new writers a sign, like, and you can really like see that like it's not like nearly like as like episodic. Like it really feels like the show has like grown a lot. Like it feels like the show is more mature. Well, as mature as Rick and Morty can get. Come on, it's Rick and Morty, but you know what I mean. It feels more like it's a lot more figured out. It feels like those seasons before it were just kind of like trying like to figure out how much of each kind of forms of storytelling to use just so that they could get in here and get a good balance. Like for example, like a lot of the episodes in here, like are pretty episodic and don't, contribute all that much, but at the same time they kind of contribute a lot, but it's done in a way where you don't really even notice it that much. Like like for example, like in the in episode 3, like like when Beth like falls in love like with a clone of herself, it really like like does a affect a lot of the other episodes, and you can see kind of that storyline moving forward. Or, like when Rick decides, like throughout the season, he is kind of, like trying to be a lot nicer to his family, which I really dig that stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I really think that that's a good direction to go in the story. Like, to try to, get Rick on a path to become a better person. But all of that is directly tied to, like the guilt that he feels over, like Prime Rick killing his original family, and all of that. It all comes together in a way where you don't really even notice it all the time. And it's really easy to take for granted, or as Rick would say,
we should never take things for granted. What? I'm just saying, life's short. We shouldn't take things for granted. Are you saying granted?
But yeah, it's just a really, really good season. And thank you so much for watching. This was my review of the new Rick and Morty season and why I think that it is a really good season. Thanks so much for watching. And yeah, I will see you guys next week.